A quarter hour later, Tianheng arrived in haste, but for some reason, his fortune casino was already packed with people. Numerous gamblers, upon seeing Tianheng, loudly clamored, "The person in charge is here. Pay up, pay up." At this moment, Shenlang also stepped forward. Smiling at Tianheng, he said, "I have won 19,000 gold coins at your fortune casino, and these hundreds of people bet with me, winning a total of 7,000 gold coins. That makes a total of 26,000 gold coins. Please help us cash these in." 26,000 gold coins, to be honest, was already a large part of Tianheng's savings. Although he was making a fortune every day, he also had hundreds of people under him to support. Losing these 26,000 gold coins would almost bankrupt Tianheng. Faced with Shenlang presenting the chips, Tianheng, who harbored intense hatred for Shenlang, could only manage a smile. "Master Shen, shall we go inside and talk about it?" Shenlang agreed, but the gamblers were not pleased. "You can't leave, you can't leave. Cash in the gold coins before leaving." They were worried that Shenlang and Tianheng would strike a deal behind closed doors and betray them. Shenlang loudly assured them, "Please rest assured, everyone, I, Shenlang, will definitely not betray your interests. I will give you a satisfactory explanation." Faced with the Count's son-in-law, everyone chose to believe. Soon, they arrived at the second floor of Fortune Casino. Tianheng's smile immediately vanished, his face turning cold. He looked at Shenlang. "Master Shen, your tactics are truly ruthless. Doing all this, is it just to make me break 13's legs? But coming to the casino, aren't you afraid of tarnishing the Count's mansion's reputation?" Shenlang stated, "The reputation of the Count's mansion is indeed important, but my, Shenlang's, reputation can be disregarded. A person can do countless good deeds, but ruining just one can lead to complete ruin. However, if one's reputation is already bad, doing one good deed can have a completely different effect." These words instantly choked Tianheng. He stopped making pointless arguments, not to mention 19,000 gold coins. He wouldn't even give 1,900. Thus, Tianheng firmly told Shenlang, "I will not break 13's legs. If I really did that, I would lose all my dignity." Shenlang laughed. "I think you're misunderstanding something. I want not only the 19,000 gold coins, but also to break 13's legs." Upon hearing this, Tianheng's eyes instantly turned red with rage, clearly showing how angry he was. Guards hurriedly stepped forward to protect Shenlang. The next moment, Tianheng laughed out of sheer anger, clearly telling Shenlang, "I won't give you even a single hair, let alone break 13's legs." His confidence stemmed from the belief that the Count's mansion would not stoop to demanding the gold coins from him. Then, Tianheng walked to the window, opened it, and told the gamblers, "The gold coins you won will be fully redeemed." The gamblers immediately cheered for Tianheng. This broke Shenlang's method of using the gamblers' power against him, and in the end, those gamblers would still lose the gold coins back. Tianheng had not lost anything. He knew the gamblers' money was never warm for long. Tianheng looked at Shenlang smugly. Shenlang clapped hard. "What a move." Then he questioned Tianheng, "Did you forget you have other casinos? As long as they are open, I can keep winning, and I'll bring all the gamblers with me to win." Saying so, Shenlang turned and shouted to the gamblers outside, "Don't leave. I'll continue to lead you to win money." In an instant, the gamblers cheered again. Back in the casino, Shenlang continued his winning streak, and the gamblers went completely wild. It was easier than picking up money. As long as they followed Shenlang, they were sure to win. In contrast, the entire casino staff looked ashen, doubting their life choices. Before long, Tianheng lost another 7,000 gold coins. The kicker was that Shenlang bet only one gold coin each time. The rest were won by the gamblers. Tianheng was so angry he could crush his teeth. Seeing this, his adopted son, Tian14, immediately rushed downstairs and approached Shenlang, intending to drive him out. Shenlang immediately pretended to be frail. "What are you going to do? Do you want to hit me? My health is not good. You know, I'll fall down with just a touch. Who dares to strike the Count's son-in-law? My wife will kill his entire family." This shameless act completely infuriated Tian14, who pointed at Shenlang's head and roared, "So what if I do take action? Someone, get Shenlang out of here." However, the next second, guards surrounded and protected Shenlang, and countless gamblers also rushed over, forming a protective circle around him, shouting, "Whoever dares to touch Shenlang will have to step over our dead bodies." Tian14 was dumbfounded, unsure of what to do next. At that moment, Tianheng appeared, directly announcing, "We're closing for today. Come back tomorrow to cash in your gold coins." Unexpectedly, Shenlang wanted to take the gamblers to Tianheng's other casinos to continue. Tianheng could only announce, "All other casinos are also temporarily closed." Who knew how much pain Tianheng felt when he made this decision? These 5 casinos accounted for more than 60% of his daily income. Now that they are all closed, the daily losses are known only to the heavens. Tianheng regretted not having dealt with Shenlang permanently before. Even so, he did not plan to compromise with Shenlang and break 13's legs. However, Tianheng's troubles were just beginning, because these casinos were not solely his. Previously, in search of protection, he agreed to give 20% of the income to the Zhang family, and the Su family, acting as agents for the Zhangs, demanded Tianheng agree to Shenlang's terms. Tianheng roared with a fierce expression, 13 is one of my most outstanding adopted sons. Breaking his legs would dishearten my men and ruin my reputation." However, a voice came from next door. Agree to it. This voice was from Zhang Ji. Don't delay. Every day you delay, you're losing money. Better to agree sooner than later. I promise you, one day, we will kill Shenlang, and then you can take your revenge. Shenlang is just a small fry. Our real target is the Count's mansion. Once we take down the Count's mansion, reclaim its lands and military power, the position of Deputy Lord will be yours. Tianheng's fists bled from the force of his grip. His teeth clenched so tightly that his gums bled. Shaking all over, he pondered for a long time, and eventually agreed. Soon after, Tianheng returned to Fortune Casino. I agree to publicly break Tian 13's legs. Now disperse. Stop causing trouble. Unexpectedly, Shenlang stated, the conditions have changed. Your other adopted son, Tian 14, yelled at me wanting to hit me, pointing at my head with his finger. So, his arms and legs need to be broken too. Hearing Shenlang's words, Tianheng felt a surge of blood rush to his brain. Seeing Tianheng not speaking, Shenlang stated, if you don't agree, I'll change the conditions again. Then, it will be to break the legs of everyone who has ever visited my house. Tianheng could no longer restrain himself and charged at Shenlang, instantly grabbing Shenlang forcefully, one hand on his head and the other on his waist, directly tearing Shenlang in half. Tianheng laughed maniacally in his frenzy. However, all this was just Tianheng's imagination. He didn't want to compromise, but he had no choice. Tianheng looked at Shenlang for a long time before agreeing. Fine, I will break Tian 13's legs and Tian 14's arms and legs in public. But Tianheng still underestimated Shenlang's ruthlessness. Not only that, but you must also completely expel them from the Black Clothes Gang, and they are not to be visited. Left to fend for themselves. If they are not miserable enough by then, I will come to trouble you again. Tianheng, collapsing, held his head in his hands. I agree to all your conditions. All of them. Moments later, at the entrance of Fortune Casino, Tian 13 and Tian 14 were tied up for public viewing. Tianheng spoke with righteous indignation. Tian 13, Tian 14, you are my adopted sons. How much have I valued you? But because you harbored personal grudges against Master Shenlang and acted behind my back for revenge, you nearly caused a great disaster. Master Shenlang is not only the son-in-law of the mythical Turtle Count's mansion, but also a close friend of mine. Tianheng, how could you two traitors afford to offend him? If I do not punish severely, how can I uphold family discipline? A thick and hard stick was handed to him. Tianheng whispered to 13, do not blame your father. 13 did not respond, turning his head away, which angered Tianheng. Are you trying to turn against me? The next moment, Tianheng raised the stick and fiercely smashed it down on his legs. With a crack, 13's legs were broken from start to finish. 13 just let out a low grunt, without screaming in agony. The onlookers were stunned. Tianheng then turned his gaze to Tian 14. He picked up the stick and ruthlessly smashed it down on Tian 14's legs. Then, with another fierce strike, Tian 14's arms were brutally broken, resulting in compound fractures. Tian 14 let out an incredibly piercing scream, chilling to the bone, and then he fainted. The faces of everyone around twitched, especially the warriors of the Black Clothes Gang. Tianheng's other adopted sons felt a chill run down their spines. It was a case of one's misfortune affecting others. How loyal 13 and Tian 14 had been, and yet, at the first sign of trouble, they were the first to be sacrificed. They all couldn't help but wonder if they would be next. From then on, Tianheng's prestige greatly diminished, losing the hearts of the Black Clothes Gang. After breaking the legs of his two adopted sons, Tianheng asked Shenlang, are you satisfied now? Shenlang gave a wicked smile. I am satisfied, but there's still some loose ends to tie up. Tianheng's face drastically changed. I've publicly broken the legs of two adopted sons, and you tell me it's not over yet? Shenlang pointed with his finger and retorted to Tianheng, you still owe me 19,000 gold coins. Tianheng was furious. I've already lost tens of thousands of gold coins. Where am I supposed to find so much more for Shenlang? Tianheng was furious with nowhere to vent. Shenlang continued with an irritating expression. How about this? You first give me 2,000 gold coins, and for the remaining 17,000, write an IOU. How about that? These words instantly made Tianheng's anger surge. 2,000 gold coins were already the last of Fortune Casino's cash flow. Shenlang kept urging him to pay up quickly. Leader Tian, let's settle this matter quickly. Otherwise, I really fear one day I won't be able to control my legs and will find myself unintentionally walking into your casino again. It's getting late. My wife is really getting anxious. The food will not taste good once it's cold. These words completely broke Tianheng's last nerve. He picked up a stick, unable to bear it any longer, and swung it fiercely at Shenlang, aiming to crush his head. However, in reality, this was all just in Tianheng's imagination. Then, one of his adopted sons handed him a note. Tianheng saw that. The note's content was, agree to what Shenlang said. Give him the money. The mythical Turtle Count's family is strict. They will not tolerate the dirty money won from the casino. The Count will deal with him in time. Tianheng looked towards the second floor, understanding it was an order from Zhang Ji. Furious, Tianheng snapped the stick in his hand. Gritting his teeth, he agreed to Shenlang's demand and ordered his adopted son to bring out the gold coins. Moments later, 2 boxes of gold coins and an IOU were placed before Shenlang, but everyone knew that the IOU was unlikely to be repaid. Shenlang took the IOU, glanced at it, then opened the boxes filled with gold coins. The dazzling golden light almost blinded blinded everyone around. Seeing this, Tianheng sneered in his heart. As long as Shenlang takes this money, the more triumphant he is now, the worse it will be when he returns to the Count's mansion. This will irreversibly damage the Count's mansion's reputation. Unexpectedly, Shenlang's expression suddenly turned righteous. He accused Tianheng with moral high ground. Since you opened this casino, how many people have been ruined, their families torn apart? I, Shenlang, regard money as dirt. I didn't come to the casino to win money, but to seek justice for everyone. My father-in-law, the Count, has always said to love the people as one's children. Saying this, Shenlang grabbed a handful of gold coins and scattered them towards the surrounding crowd. I, Shenlang, will not take a single gold coin. All will be given back to the people. Immediately, the crowd went absolutely wild, scrambling for the gold coin Shenlang had thrown. Tianheng watched this scene, his eyes nearly popping out. The man was truly about to explode. Not only did he force me to break my adopted son's legs, but he also used my money to win over the hearts of the people. This is not only an insult to my character, but also an insult to my intelligence. Tianheng was already holding back frustration, and at this point, he could no longer bear it, directly vomiting blood from anger. Inside Fortune Casino, Zhang Ji, witnessing this scene, was somewhat surprised by Shenlang's tactics, but the next moment, he curled his lips into a smile. He cryptically said to Mayor Lu, with the situation now so chaotic, isn't it especially easy for Shenlang to suffer a sudden misfortune? Mayor Lu clearly understood Zhang Ji's implication. With the crowd fighting over the gold coins below, if a stampede occurred, it wouldn't be traced back to them, and if Shenlang accidentally got trampled, it would seem like an accident. It would be blamed on Shenlang being too ostentatious. Mayor Lu, with a smile, stated, if it's a stampede, it's normal for many people to die, dozens or even hundreds. By then, Shenlang and the Count's mansion would both be hard-pressed to escape blame. Zhang Ji was shocked by Mayor Lu's ruthlessness. But what's a few deaths? As long as we achieve our goals, outside, thousands of people were still cheering, shouting long live Shenlang. However, in the chaos, people arranged by Zhang Ji silently merged into the crowd. Once they got close to Shenlang, they planned to first push away the 4 guards around him, then knock Shenlang to the ground and cause a major disturbance, initiating a stampede. Shenlang sensed the danger immediately. With his keen mind, he could clearly remember many faces, and those he focused on had appeared at his wedding. Obviously not Tianheng's men. Shenlang quickly guessed their intentions, so he clapped his hands forcefully and shouted, quiet, everyone stop moving. Faced with Shenlang distributing gold coins, his influence was at its peak, immediately silencing the crowd as they looked toward Shenlang. Shenlang, holding an empty box, announced, all my gold coins have been distributed. However, those few people arranged by Zhang Ji were still shouting to grab the gold coins, which seemed particularly conspicuous. Shenlang smiled inwardly, just as I suspected. The next moment, Shenlang took out the IOU from Tianheng, declaring, I also do not want the 17,000 gold coins. This is all your hard-earned money. So, I will hand over this IOU to the mayor, letting the mayor recover the debt for you, to be used entirely for aiding the poor families of mythical Turtle City. Instantly, the crowd erupted in cheers. Seeing those few men, still pretending to be part of the crowd and pushing towards him, Shenlang immediately ran towards the second floor of Fortune Casino. He had used his X-ray vision earlier to see Mayor Lu was upstairs. At the same time, Mayor Lu upstairs was shocked. Shenlang was actually dragging him into this. Just as he thought of escaping through the back door, Shenlang had already reached the second floor. He grabbed Mayor Lu and brought him to the window, calling the countless people outside to look their way. In that instant, the few men outside ceased their actions, daring not to cause any more disturbances. Then, under the gaze of countless people, Shenlang handed the IOU to Mayor Lu. With a tone full of righteousness, he stated, I may be of humble status, but you, Mayor, as the leader of this city, if you stand up to recover the debt for the countless poor, surely Tianheng would not dare to default. Upon hearing this, Mayor Lu was completely stunned. The IOU was originally just a piece of waste paper, and now he was actually expected to repay the debt. At this moment, Mayor Lu felt that Shenlang was a venomous snake that devoured men without owing anything. If he refused to take the IOU, his reputation would be completely ruined. With a convulsion in his heart, he put on a smile, insincerely assuring Shenlang, I will certainly not fail his trust. Shenlang also announced this result to the crowd. It's getting late. I shall take my leave now. Countless people shouted Shenlang's name. From this day forward, the entire mythical Turtle City would be filled with legends about him. Meanwhile, at the mythical Turtle Count's mansion, Father Jean paced back and forth, repeatedly asking his servants, has Shenlang returned yet? He was worried about Shenlang's safety. After all, Tianheng had the cunning Mayor Lu and the ruthless Zhang Ji behind him. Mother Jean signaled Father Jean not to worry too much. Shenlang has us, the Count's mansion, backing him. Tianheng wouldn't dare to go too far. At that moment, a servant returned with news. Father Jean, anxious, asked, how did it go? How much did Shenlang lose? Did Tianheng lay a hand on him? Jean Hui, a skilled servant, reported loudly, no, he bankrupted Tianheng instead. In front of everyone, he broke the legs of Tian 13 and Tian 14, making Tianheng vomit blood from anger. Upon hearing this, everyone present was utterly astounded. Shenlang is just one person, yet he managed to deal with with Tianheng, a local snake, and his backing forces. Afterwards, the skilled individual reported in detail to Father Jean about the entire situation, including Shenlang's tactical wit and ability to turn situations around. Father Jean was amazed by Shenlang's actions and relieved that he maintained the reputation of their count's mansion. However, Father Jean also felt apprehensive today's situation. Although this young rascal won, it was too risky. Father Jean decided to discipline Shenlang a bit, fearing he would become even more reckless in the future. So, when Shenlang returned sneakily, Father Jean had been waiting for a long time. "Oh, the gambling god is back." Shenlang was instantly taken aback. "Father-in-law, you, a dignified count, actually hid behind the door to ambush me?" Regardless, Shenlang quickly admitted his fault, and Father Jean began to loudly scold him. However, before he could say much, Shenlang bowed again in apology, mainly acting obedient. Clearly, Father Jean did not want to let Shenlang off so easily, but Shenlang kept admitting his mistakes promptly, leaving Father Jean speechless. At that moment, Mother Jean came out to mediate. Shenlang's intentions were good. "Stop scolding him." Then, pretending to be angry, she said, "Shenlang, you must not go to casinos anymore, or I will have to punish you." After saying this, she showed concern for Shenlang. "Are you hungry? Do you want to go eat?" Father Jean was speechless. "Is that it? You're usually quite strict with your own son. Quick to discipline. Why do you soften up with your son-in-law?" Annoyed and unable to let it go, Father Jean grabbed Shenlang's hand, telling him, "Starting today, you are grounded again. You can move around inside the mansion, but you are not to step outside the count's mansion." Shenlang was taken aback, timidly asking, "What conditions do I need to meet to be allowed out?" Father Jean said flatly, "None. When you've learned to behave and improve yourself, then you'll be released." Shenlang was stunned again. "I didn't expect that just one day out, though it was a spectacular day. I wouldn't want to be confined." Father Jean was actually doing it for Shenlang's own good. In case Tianheng and his group really took drastic actions, it would be too late to protect him. So, deciding to be thorough, Father Jean ordered everyone, "Keep an eye on Shenlang. He must not go out." Everyone responded in unison. Shenlang really felt like crying now. "Today, I was on a roll, dominating, only to come home and be put in solitary." Seeing Shenlang dispirited, Father Jean was satisfied. "My goal has been achieved." But Father Jean still felt something was missing. Not long after, screams could be heard from a room in the count's mansion. It turned out that Jean Mulan's brother once again suffered a loving mixed doubles punishment, because Shenlang's clever and outstanding performance made their own son seem even more foolish by comparison. On the other hand, when Shenlang returned to the courtyard, he found Jean Mulan wearing a suit of armor. Curious, Shenlang asked Jean Mulan, "Why are you wearing armor at home?" The answer he got was that Jean Mulan was afraid something would happen to Shenlang, ready to lead troops into the city to rescue him. Shenlang was surprised at this, and also felt warmed by it. He decided to help Jean Mulan remove the armor before they went to eat together. Jean Mulan did not refuse, opening her arms to let Shenlang help her. After removing Jean Mulan's armor, Shenlang's breathing became somewhat rapid. Seeing Jean Mulan's snake-like waist, her powerful long legs, and her explosive figure, Shenlang was utterly fascinated. He quickly calmed himself down and thanked Jean Mulan. Jean Mulan shook her head with a smile, indicating it was nothing. "I am proud of your performance today, Shenlang, but in the future, you must think carefully before acting." Moved by the moment, Shenlang wrapped his arms tightly around Jean Mulan from behind. Jean Mulan was slightly startled. Feeling Shenlang so close to her, her cheeks began to blush, but she did not resist, touched by Shenlang's tender gesture. However, in less than 3 seconds, Jean Mulan felt Shenlang's hands sliding down. Jean Mulan instantly turned around, grabbing Shenlang's hands. "Husband, where are you putting your hands?" Shenlang immediately responded, "I can't be blamed for this. Blame your skin for being too smooth, making my hands slide down on their own. It was completely unintentional. Next time, I'll chop off my hands." Hearing Shenlang's feeble excuse, Jean Mulan simply said, "Don't let it happen again." But soon after, Shenlang's hands began to wander again. Jean Mulan directly grabbed Shenlang's hand and pressed it on the table. Looking at Shenlang, she said, "Maybe it's better if you didn't have this hand." Shenlang, with all seriousness, claimed, "How can you take a man's word seriously? I was just speaking off the cuff." Jean Mulan, feeling helpless at his words, did not really intend to pursue it further. She sat aside, letting Shenlang eat. After finishing the meal, Jean Mulan put her armor back on. Seeing this, Shenlang asked, "Where are you going?" Jean Mulan explained, "I'm leading the cavalry to patrol the night." Patrolling the coastline, she waved her hand, bidding goodbye to Shenlang, telling him to stay at home and not cause trouble. Meanwhile, Jean Mutsong, who had received the loving mixed doubles punishment, was taking arithmetic lessons. Although the imperial examinations in the Great Yu Kingdom did not include arithmetic, noble families placed great importance on it. This was because arithmetic was very practical and could also train the practitioner's thinking. The tutor was Su Wenjiao, the most famous arithmetic master in mythical Turtle City, who also served as the chief steward within the count's mansion, responsible for settling all financial and material accounts. At this moment, Jean Mutsong was very uncomfortable. His parents had beaten him without explanation, leading him to wonder if he was even their biological child. Su Wenjiao said, "The reason you were beaten is because of Shenlang. Jin Mutsong was surprised. Su Wenjiao reiterated Shenlang's previous image. Because you are underperforming, your sister Jin Mulan had to marry that useless man. And today's beating is because Shenlang went to the casino. Unable to vent their frustration on Shenlang, they took it out on you. Hearing this, Jin Mutsong's face darkened. At that moment, Su Wenjiao subtly signaled to a servant nearby. The servant immediately told Jin Mutsong, "Today, I saw Binger crying secretly." When asked, she wouldn't say why. The implication was that Shenlang had harassed Binger, instantly enraging Jin Mutsong, who always regarded Binger as a sister, and he immediately prepared to teach Shenlang a lesson. Binger took the initiative to come to Shenlang's room, informing Shenlang that Jin Mutsong was looking to beat him up. Shenlang was surprised. As Jin Mutsong lost his mind, Binger suggested that Shenlang should go out and hide, and she would immediately inform the Lady Countess. However, Shenlang took Binger's hand in his, causing her to blush. "It's okay, I have my ways." Binger naturally didn't believe him. Her face flushed as she tried to push Shenlang away, worried that Shenlang would really get beaten up. However, Shenlang just brushed Binger off. "Okay, I got it." This left Binger infuriated as she walked out the door, still deciding to inform the lady of the house. Moments later, Jin Mutsong arrived at Shenlang's door with people, fiercely demanding Shenlang to come out and take his beating. But despite Jin Mutsong's loud calls, he received no response from Shenlang. Annoyed, Jin Mutsong pushed the door open, only to see Shenlang writing something on the wall. After questioning, he learned Shenlang was writing down names. Jin Mutsong, puzzled, asked Shenlang, "What are you doing writing these names?" Shenlang ominously stated, "These are my enemies. I'm afraid I might forget them, so I'm writing their names on the wall to remind myself to seek revenge." He drew a large cross over the names of 13 and Tian 14. Seeing this, Jin Mutsong asked what that meant. As Shenlang descended the stairs, he explained, "I've already taken care of these two." Then, seeming to have red in his eyes, he told Jin Mutsong sinisterly, "To ensure I don't forget my revenge, I recite these names 3 times every morning and 3 times every night before I sleep." Jin Mutsong shuddered uncontrollably. "What kind of grudge is this?" Shenlang, with a chilling air, stated, "Tian 13 once threatened me, so I had Tianheng break his legs. Those legs of his were broken into 5 or 6 pieces. As for Tian 14, the grudge is even deeper. Not only did he threaten me, but he also pointed at my head. I hate nothing more than someone pointing at my head in this life." So, both his arms and legs were broken, completely shattered. Jin Mutsong was instantly petrified. "Just for that bit of grudge, you had someone's arms and legs broken? Are you a devil?" At that moment, Jin Mutsong felt a chill run down his scalp. If I hit Shenlang, wouldn't I be torn to pieces by him? Seeing the sinister Shenlang, Jin Mutsong was genuinely scared. Shenlang inquired, "So, what did you want with me?" Jin Mutsong hastily said, "Nothing. I was just full and wandering around." Shenlang, stroking his chin, countered, "Why did I seem to hear someone saying they wanted to beat me just now?" Jin Mutsong was immediately scared stiff. "No, who said that? Who dares to hit the Count's mansion's son-in-law, looking for death?" Then, he hurriedly fled. Shenlang couldn't help but laugh inwardly. Such a coward. However, the moment Jin Mutsong ran out, he bumped into his most feared entity, his mother. Mother Jin immediately grabbed Jin Mutsong by the ear. This rebellious child actually dared to come to hit Shenlang. Jin Mutsong knew he was doomed. This time he would definitely be beaten to the point of lying in bed for half a month. At this moment, Shenlang came out. Mother Jin, fuming, assured Shenlang, "I will definitely take revenge for you." Unexpectedly, Shenlang said, "Jin Mutsong was just coming to chat with me, not to fight." Mother Jin was surprised. "Really?" Shenlang nodded affirmatively. Seeing this, Mother Jin swung her hand and slapped the back of Jin Mutsong's head, scolding Jin Mutsong, "Look how good your brother-in-law is to you, even pleading on your behalf." Then, turning to Shenlang, "You don't have to plead for my foolish son." She then turned around, pulled out a whip, and was about to strike Jin Mutsong. Shenlang quickly stepped forward to stop her. "Mother-in-law, please, don't harm your health over this. The crown prince is straightforward and honest. How about I talk to him?" Mother Jin, upon hearing this, refrained from hitting. Shenlang is indeed filial. "Teach my son a good lesson for me. If he doesn't listen, feel free to hit him." Later, inside Shenlang's room, Jin Mutsong was immensely grateful to Shenlang. "If there's anything you need, just ask me." Shenlang glanced at him. "Then tell me, who encouraged you to come?" Jin Mutsong shrunk his head and vigorously shook it, saying, "No way, I'm a man of loyalty. I can't betray." Shenlang figured out why his mother-in-law always hit him, being sold out and still helping the seller count the money without knowing. Though foolish, the loyalty he showed was something Shenlang appreciated. He didn't inquire further and decided to investigate on his own. After sending Jin Mutsong away, Shenlang closed all the doors, then took out a bag of moldy wheat, scraping off the ergot fungus from it bit by bit. Anyone knowledgeable would be shivering, not knowing what Shenlang planned to do with this dangerous substance. The next morning, Jin Mulan still hadn't returned. Binger assisted Shenlang with his washing. During this, Shenlang noticed Binger's attitude towards him had improved significantly. He couldn't help but start thinking, "Binger, do you know why white tigers are rare and precious?" Binger thought for a moment, because most tigers are yellow, but at that moment, Shenlang had hidden behind the door, explaining to Binger, "No, it's because time is precious, and gold cannot buy time." Binger was utterly immediately confused after hearing Shenlang, clearly not understanding what he was talking about. Seeing that his attempt at humor had no effect, Shenlang felt helpless. She's too innocent. I was even afraid of getting hit by Binger, had even prepared to run away. Binger decided, I'll ask the missus what it means tonight. Shenlang felt a tingling in his scalp, but Jean Mulan is so innocent, she probably won't understand either. So, I probably won't get beaten. After breakfast, Shenlang received another task from his father-in-law, which was to study. Shenlang was speechless. I'm already well learned. What more is there to study? But father-in-law is still angry. Shenlang decided to go through the motions. The Count's mansion had its own school, with over 100 students. When Shenlang entered, the classroom became lively instantly, with undisguised hostility and jealousy in their eyes. The reason was simple. Shenlang had married Jean Mulan, the dream girl of all the boys. A few of them exchanged glances and then surrounded Shenlang, planning to beat him up. At this moment, Jean Mutsong came to Shenlang's side, putting an arm around Shenlang's shoulder, defending him. This is my brother-in-law. Show some respect, or beware I might start hitting people. The group dispersed, but the looks they gave Shenlang were still full of challenge. So, when the class officially started, facing the old master's pop quiz on I Ching, Shenlang could easily recite and explain its meanings. The old master, unconvinced, asked a few more questions, which Shenlang all explained with ease. The old master was slightly surprised. Wasn't Shenlang said to be a good-for-nothing? However, Shenlang's explanations were affirmed by the old master, astonishing everyone else. Then, the old master asked several more questions, and Shenlang answered fluently. His interpretations and references perfectly addressed the old master's queries, some answers even exceeding the old master's knowledge, which he hadn't considered could be explained that way. This made Shenlang increasingly appreciated by the old master. Shenlang is a genius. I must report this to the Count. We cannot allow Shenlang's talents to be buried. Upon entering the arithmetic class, Su and Zhao immediately noticed Shenlang. Shenlang, with his keen senses, detected a deep hostility from Su and Zhao towards him. This puzzled Shenlang. I've never even interacted with this person. Could it be jealousy like those others? But he's over 50. It's not likely he harbors fantasies about Jean Mulan. Shenlang decided to observe quietly. As Su and Zhao began his lecture, Shenlang found it incredibly dull. The content was too elementary, practically at a primary school level. Naturally, Shenlang fell asleep, which immediately caught Su and Zhao's attention. He approached Shenlang and shouted, Shenlang, stand up. He even prepared to punish Shenlang by hitting his palms. Shenlang frowned. Aren't others asleep as well? This confirmed Shenlang's suspicion. Such targeting. I must be blocking his path. Could it be possible that Su and Zhao is a relative of one of the 5 suitors Jean Mulan initially had? Seeing Shenlang remain unmoved, Su and Zhao grabbed Shenlang's wrist, ready to discipline him. Shenlang calmly stated, I already know what you are teaching. This response infuriated Su and Zhao. Daring to talk back? Not only will I hit your palms, but you will also kneel for 3 hours in front of Confucius. Shenlang looked coldly at Su and Zhao. I respectfully decline. Upon hearing Shenlang's words, the audience was impressed by Shenlang's boldness, while also watching him with a sense of schadenfreude. Su and Zhao, flushed with anger and his blood boiling, exclaimed, Shenlang, you're ignorant and yet you dare to defy your teacher. I'm going to report this to the Count's mansion. With that, he slammed his ruler onto the desk, breaking it in half, and left the classroom, obviously to seek the Count. Jean Mutsong turned pale and told Shenlang, if your father finds out, you'll be beaten severely. Expect to lie in bed for half a month. Shenlang, hearing this, asked back, was it Su and Zhao who instigated you yesterday? Jean Mutsong shook his head, feigning ignorance. No, I can't say. To say would be disloyal. Alright, with that expression on Jean Mutsong's face, Shenlang already knew. So, Shenlang asked Jean Mutsong, is he related to any of the 5 suitors Jean Mulan originally had? After thinking, Jean Mutsong said, yes, he's the uncle of Wang Lian's cousin, also a distant relative of his mother. The truth is now clear. He is the uncle of Chief Clerk Wang Lian from the mythical Turtle City Mansion. Had Wang Lian become Jean Mulan's husband, he could have advanced further. My sudden appearance and marriage to Jean Mulan blocked Su and Zhao's path. No wonder he sees me as a thorn in his side. Soon after, urgent footsteps were heard outside. As expected, Su and Zhao had brought the Count. He accused Shenlang of disrespecting his elders and tarnishing the Count's mansion's reputation, urging Father Jean to severely punish Shenlang. However, Shenlang wasn't afraid, though Jean Mutsong was already cowering in fear, used to being beaten. Facing his father-in-law's gaze, Shenlang first expressed his respect for teachers, then said, the content taught by Su and Zhao was basic, and I had already mastered it. I was not lying. Su and Zhao became furious. To say that what I taught was simple. Someone who spent 10 years in school barely recognizes a few characters, claims to have learned it all. Ridiculous and laughable. Su and Zhao then challenged Shenlang. I'll give you 10 problems. You only need to solve 3. If you can't, you'll receive 30 strokes. Do you dare? At this moment, Su and Zhao was incredibly smug, already anticipating Shenlang's miserable state. After all, arithmetic wasn't taught in other schools, and he didn't believe Shenlang could do it. Naturally, Shenlang accepted the challenge, adding, what if I solve all 10 questions? Su and Zhao outright said it was impossible. If you manage to answer all of them, I will publicly apologize to Shenlang. Lang. Lang immediately asked his father-in-law to bear witness. Then Su Wenjiao began preparing the questions, planning to come up with the most difficult ones, hoping Lang wouldn't be able to solve any, which would give him a reason to severely punish Lang. An hour later, Su Wenjiao, having exhausted his knowledge and effort, presented the completed questions to Lang. With only 1 hour to answer, Lang glanced at them, his lips curling into a smile. Is this it? Asking a person with a master's degree to solve these 10 arithmetic problems is like using a cleaver to kill a chicken. Look at this first question, asking how many grains of rice are held by 100 people. Isn't this a primary school question? Lang easily solved it without much thought. Moving on to the second question. Interesting, using equations now, but for Lang, it was still very simple. The third question looks like poetry, but it's just a math problem, also too easy. Then, the fourth, fifth, sixth, not a single question was challenging enough for him. When Lang looked at the last question, he found it a bit more interesting, even very challenging. A world-class math problem from his previous life, unexpectedly encountered here. A regular person definitely couldn't arrange 16 rows, but Lang easily could draw up to 23 rows, which would probably scare Su Wenjiao out of his wits. Lang quickly wrote down his answers. None of the questions could stump him. However, others didn't know this, like Su Wenjiao, who was waiting to see Lang punished. Father Jean, fearing Lang was just scribbling nonsense, which would make it difficult to plead for him later, had a servant call Mother Jean. But within the next hour of the exam, not even 10 minutes had passed before Lang handed in his paper. Shocking Father Jean and the others, Su Wenjiao took it for review and began marking, and his expression changed the moment he saw it. He found that Lang had correctly answered the first question, and from the second to the 9th question, Lang's answers were still perfectly correct. Su Wenjiao's face turned hideously twisted, unable to accept that after all his hard thinking, Lang had easily solved them. Lang, with a light laugh, looked at Su Wenjiao. Did I get them all right? Su Wenjiao immediately looked at Lang's answer to the 10th question, convinced that Lang couldn't possibly have solved it. But Lang's answer nearly made his eyes pop out of their sockets. The question asked how many rows can be formed if 20 trees are planted 4 per row, and Lang's answer was an astonishing 23 rows, considering Su Wenjiao had spent over a decade and had only managed to figure out 14 rows. He wondered, is Lang human or a ghost? Doubting his own intelligence and his pride crumbling, Su Wenjiao couldn't admit defeat without losing face. So, he tore Lang's paper to shreds, threw it on the ground, and stomped on it, shamelessly berating Lang. What a mess you've made. It's utterly unbearable to look at. Seeing this, Lang remained unfazed, for he had written 2 copies of his answers. He then handed the answers to the nearby old master for review. Seeing this, Su Wenjiao panicked, while Father Jean stepped in front of him to stop any further actions. Su Wenjiao knew he was finished, internally cursing Lang's cunning. The old master, skilled in arithmetic, was stunned after reviewing from start to finish. The most astonishing was the last question. He looked at Lang in utter shock, then knelt to Father Jean, saying, "Congratulations, my lord, for having an arithmetic genius. I have never seen nor heard of such talent. The son-in-law's answers are all correct, and his mathematical skills far exceed the limits of these 10 questions. I am humbled by his prowess." He couldn't help but ask Lang, "Who did you learn from?" Lang, with a slight smirk, boasted in a very Versailles manner, "I taught myself. Isn't arithmetic quite simple?" This boastful statement made even Father Jean want to punch someone. The next moment, Lang's gaze turned to Su Wenjiao, trying to sneak away. "Where are you going? You just made a bet to apologize to me." Su Wenjiao instantly felt a wave of heat over his body, unable to swallow his pride and wanting to leave. At this moment, Father Jean spoke. "A teacher must set an example." Mother Jean also entered. "One must take responsibility for their actions. A promise made must be kept." Seeing this, Lang secretly smiled. Su Wenjiao is a distant relative of my mother-in-law, essentially his backer. Now that she has spoken, it's like publicly slapping Su Wenjiao's face. Grinding his teeth and with a flushed face, Su Wenjiao apologized to Lang, prompting everyone to watch gleefully. Su Wenjiao, red-faced and as if his hair was on fire from the embarrassment, felt like his heart was about to explode with rage. Unable to stay a moment longer, he turned and left, harboring resentment against Lang. The students, witnessing this, looked at Lang with admiration. However, Father Jean, with a stern face, approached Lang. "Extend your hand." Reluctantly, Lang stretched out his palm, and a smack resounded. Father Jin's intention was to keep Lang from becoming arrogant, to prevent him from getting too carried away. Later that night, in a secluded courtyard, Su Wenjiao, cloaked in a black robe and holding a box, knocked on a door. Upon seeing the door open, he presented the box, saying, "This is my humble tribute to young Master Zhang Ji over the past 6 months." He also took out a scroll from his robe, which contained the financial information of the Count's mansion. Su Wenjiao had betrayed the Count's mansion to secure his son's success in the martial examinations. Not long after Su Wenjiao returned home, he found Tianheng appearing in his house. Tianheng cut straight to the point. "Do you want to get rid of Lang?" Su Wenjiao naturally did, but the Count is very satisfied with Lang. "It's not easy to take action, is it?" Tianheng offered Su Wenjiao a strategy. Use public opinion. Spread rumors that Shenlang is pretending to be weak but has huge ambitions, portraying Shenlang as aiming for power and Jin Mutsung as incompetent by creating the illusion that Shenlang wants to seize power. Once everyone believes it, Shenlang can be taken down without bloodshed. Upon hearing this, Su Wenjiao agreed to collaborate with Tianheng. Meanwhile, outside the Count and Countess's chamber, Shenlang came to knock on the door. Father Jean came out, furious, looking at Shenlang. Can't this wait until tomorrow? Mother Jean pinched Father Jean, then asked Shenlang, what's the matter? Clearly, Shenlang realized he had interrupted Father Jin's leisure, apologized, and then went straight to the point. I suspect Su Wenjiao of embezzlement and wish to examine his accounts. His annual salary is only 200 gold coins, yet his sons are decked in gold and silver, and he owns many properties in mythical Turtle City, far exceeding what his salary could afford. Father Jean slammed the table, not wanting Shenlang to continue causing a rift, and told him, too clear water harbors no fish. Shenlang responded, what if the embezzled money far exceeds your expectation and tolerance? Mother Jean asked Shenlang, do you have evidence? Shenlang presented 2 account books, indicating they recorded Su Wenjiao's severe corruption, and these were just 2 of them. Father Jean was curious about where Shenlang got the account books. Shenlang coughed lightly, saying he had Jin Mutsung fetch them. The Count and Countess couldn't help but cover their faces, imagining how Shenlang had directed their naive son. Mother Jean then looked at Father Jean. It's good to check. His status should not be a concern. Hearing his wife say so, Father Jean agreed, but there are 3 conditions. First, you must investigate with the old master. Second, the findings must first be brought to me for handling. Third, Su Wenjiao is not at home now. You must stop once he returns and cannot confront him directly. Father Jean truly didn't want to be the villain. After all, Su Wenjiao had served him for decades. Upon hearing this, Shenlang internally sighed. My father-in-law is too kind-hearted. Well, I'll be the villain then. Watching Shenlang leave, Mother Jean embraced Father Jean. Stop worrying. Let's go back to our room and continue what we were doing. Shenlang then headed to the accounting office, stunned by the mountainous piles of account books before him. The old master explained, these are the account books of over 20 years. How could there not be many? It would take several months to go through them all, needing at least a dozen people. But you only have one night. The attendant who opened the door for us just now is Su Wenjiao's trusted apprentice. By dawn, the news could reach Su Wenjiao's ears. Once Su Wenjiao returns, he will take back control of the accounts. The Count is lenient and will not refuse. Shenlang was unfazed. Old master, just find me an assistant to help pick out the key account books. They could never have predicted Shenlang's advantage with his intelligence. The accounting work, which would typically require dozens of people several months to complete, was quickly sorted and summarized in Shenlang's mind. The amount of Su Wenjiao's embezzlement shocked Shenlang. While Shenlang was auditing, Su Wenjiao also received a message from a servant, rushing back to the Count's mansion in panic. He couldn't believe Shenlang dared to audit his accounts. If I don't teach Shenlang a lesson, my name isn't Su Wenjiao. So, when Su Wenjiao returned to the Count's mansion, he knelt before Father Jean. Lord Count, do you not trust me anymore? I've worked diligently for the Count's mansion for over 20 years. Now, Lord Shen is auditing my accounts. Such actions are a huge insult to me. He then threatened to crash into a wall to prove his innocence. The steward Jean stopped Su Wenjiao, who then collapsed on the ground, sobbing. I have been so loyal. There's no one in the Count's mansion more loyal than me. If you still don't believe me, you can take out my heart and see. Father Jean sighed, instructing steward Jean to call Shenlang back and to stop the audit. At this moment, Su Wenjiao, seemingly crying on the surface, felt triumph inside, unaware that his nightmare was about to begin. Next, Su Wenjiao began to bite back, claiming Shenlang harbored great ambitions, a rumor spreading outside mythical Turtle City. Hearing this, Father Jean became displeased. He was very fond of Shenlang. Despite Shenlang's propensity for trouble, Father Jean could tell whether he had ambitions. As Su Wenjiao continued to speak ill of Shenlang, Shenlang was brought in. Seeing this, Su Wenjiao immediately started to accuse Shenlang. Shenlang, with a light laugh, approached Su Wenjiao and said something that made Su Wenjiao's scalp tingle. Su Wenjiao, I never thought you could embezzle so much. Su Wenjiao was shocked internally, but remained defiant, demanding Shenlang to reveal the exact amount. Doubting Shenlang could audit over 20 years of accounts in one night, Shenlang stated deliberately, 30,000 gold coins. This amount made Su Wenjiao's eyes nearly pop out. Shenlang loudly questioned Su Wenjiao, have you no conscience? Can you justify the trust my in-laws placed in you? 30,000 gold coins could cover the Count's mansion's military salaries for a year. In this world, a normal family laboring for a year could not save up 2 gold coins, illustrating the enormity of the embezzlement. Father Jean was also utterly shocked. He knew Su Wenjiao was corrupt, but never imagined it to this extent. Su Wenjiao, forcing himself to remain calm, knelt before Father Jean, alleging that Shenlang was slandering him, as if pushing him towards death. Shenlang told him it was useless to shout, then angrily rebuked Su Wenjiao. You've got some nerve, even daring to meddle with the military. The number of soldiers hasn't increased, yet the expenses keep rising. Su Wenjiao retorted, that's because of the rise in prices. Shenlang then asked him, then where do the annually depreciated horses, armor, and weapons go? Su Wenjiao trembled and said, they were melted down and remade. Shenlang snorted coldly, then why haven't I seen an increase in iron production? Instead, it's decreasing, and even the salt from the Count's mansion is diminishing. On the contrary, the production of sacks and bamboo frames has greatly increased. Why is that? Faced with Su Wenjiao, who couldn't answer, Shenlang answered for him. It's because Su Wenjiao used sacks and bamboo baskets to carry away the iron and salt. Su Wenjiao, sweating coldly from being questioned, still refused to admit it. He loudly argued that Shenlang had no evidence. Shenlang directly threw out an account book. This was what he had made overnight. The account book organized by Shenlang allowed Father Jean to clearly understand the expenditures and income. Then he was shocked again. Like buying wine and taking kickbacks, among other things, there were plenty. The more Father Jean read, the angrier he became. He asked the steward to bring the old master to see if Shenlang's account book was correct. After a moment, the old master looked at Shenlang's account book and was also immensely surprised. He didn't expect Shenlang to have made it in one night, and then confirmed to Father Jean that Shenlang's account was entirely accurate. Su Wenjiao's face turned pale. He knew he couldn't confess his guilt. He had to wait for those big figures behind him to save him. The gold coins he had hidden away were his lifeline. He gritted his teeth and denied everything, accusing Shenlang and others of merely trying to slander him. Then he cried out miserably, Shenlang wants to eliminate those who are different, to lay hands on us old folks of the Count's mansion. The accounts are all fabricated by Shenlang. Without solid proof, I would rather die than submit. This ugly scene made Father Jean tremble with anger. Shenlang pulled over a chair and sat in front of Su Wenjiao. I know where the solid evidence is. It's the gold coins that Su Wenjiao embezzled and hid away. Su Wenjiao naturally did not believe. Shenlang was indifferent and asked his father-in-law to take some men with him. The father-in-law then ordered the steward to dispatch 100 cavalry, all to follow Shenlang's arrangements. An hour later, the group arrived at a stone outpost, which was already in a state of semi-abandonment. Seeing this, Su Wenjiao was so scared that he could no longer walk. He couldn't figure out why Shenlang knew about this place. Just as Shenlang was about to take Su Wenjiao inside, an arrow suddenly shot towards Shenlang. The steward instantly stepped in front of Shenlang, breaking the arrow. While cautioning Shenlang to be careful, he quickly ordered his men to clear the area. After a while, they only caught one person inside the outpost. Seeing the face under the black clothes, the steward recognized him. It was Su Wenjiao's son, Su Tian. The steward grabbed his hair and asked what he was doing here. Su Tian said with a light laugh, coming here to play. Is that not allowed? Shenlang glanced at him, then activated his X-ray vision, scanning the surroundings inside and out, quickly locating the place. Shenlang pointed to the cellar, ordering it to be dug up. Soon the cellar was revealed, but it was locked, and not even the soldiers' swords could break the lock. Shenlang immediately scanned Su Wenjiao with his X-ray vision and found the key hidden in his hair. With a reach and a pull, Shenlang took out the key. Su Wenjiao instantly went mad, cursing Shenlang. Are you human or a ghost? How could you know this? Shenlang ignored him, and after unlocking it, he walked straight into the cellar. Soon, the items hidden in the cellar were uncovered. Su Wenjiao's corruption exceeded everyone's expectations. All the boxes in the secret room were filled with gold coins, as well as various jewels, antiques, and paintings. This enraged the steward greatly, and Shenlang also found an account book among them, which was essentially Su Wenjiao's diary of corruption, clearly recording when and how much he embezzled. Now the evidence was irrefutable, solid as a rock. At this moment, a soldier asked, what about Su Wenjiao's son? Shenlang stated flatly, kill him, burn the body to ashes, and throw it into the sea. Su Tian panicked, pulling out the new policies of the Yu Kingdom, stating that local nobles have no right to kill or threaten. Shenlang just gave him a cold look, drew a soldier's sword, and placed it beside Su Tian's neck. The next moment, blood splattered on Shenlang's indifferent face. As Su Tian convulsed and fell to the ground, the steward was extremely surprised. Son-in-law, the way you cut down a man feels even more skilled than me. Soon after, the entire convoy returned fully loaded. Shenlang sat in the carriage, looking at his palm. In this strange world, I finally stained my hands with blood. To live a comfortable life. It's really not easy, but no one can threaten my family. That's my bottom line. After retrieving the gold coins embezzled by Su Wenjiao, it caused a great uproar in the Count's mansion. A total of 11,000 gold coins were found in the cellar, along with 52 famous paintings and calligraphies, and 5 boxes of jade and jewels. Just as Su Wenjiao was about to plead for mercy, the always kind Father Jean kicked Su Wenjiao away. Stop acting. Su Wenjiao then turned to Shenlang to beg for mercy, asking to be spared his life and willing to be a servant. Shenlang looked at him coldly, then turned to Father Jean and said, Su Wenjiao must die. The old master then said, because it's an employment relationship. Under the new policies of the Yu Kingdom, nobles do not have the right to kill him. He must be sent to the Lord's mansion. Shenlang refused. Su Wenjiao embezzled 30,000 gold coins, but only 11,000 were found in the cellar, and his properties are worth about 5,000 gold coins. The rest, needless to say, have already been given to the Lord's mansion and the prefect's mansion in exchange for his son's place in the next martial examination. All these details are recorded in his account book. Father Jean took the account book, looking at it with a face full of rage. Have I ever wronged you in all these years? Upon hearing this, Su Wenjiao burst into insane laughter. It turns out Su Wenjiao once wanted to place his son in the Count's mansion's army as a captain in charge of 100 men, but Father Jean refused. However, that was also an opportunity given by Father Jean. Su Wenjiao's son was neither good at literature nor martial arts. How could he make his subordinates convinced? Simply put, he was too useless. Su Wenjiao disdainfully said, I have been loyal for over 20 years, not even offering my son a future. What's wrong with seeking another path? This infuriated Father Jean so much that he grabbed a sword, wanting to kill Su Wenjiao. The old master quickly stepped forward to stop him. If you really strike, you'll give yourself a huge problem. Seeing this, Su Wenjiao started to taunt arrogantly, making Father Jin's eyes turn red with rage. Pushing the old master away, Shenlang quickly stepped forward, saying, I have a way. Su Wenjiao was no longer afraid, insulting Shenlang like a mad dog. Shenlang looked at him and asked lightly, Are you afraid of the Su family's family law? The next moment, the steward came in with several people. Among them was the old patriarch of the Su family. After apologizing to the Count, he immediately ordered Su Wenjiao to be taken back and beaten to death. Su Wenjiao struggled and screamed desperately, Why? I just embezzled. I didn't break any family rules. The family ancestral hall has no right to kill me. Shenlang walked over, smiling softly. Su Wenjiao, the charge for killing you is not embezzlement, but for seducing your aunt, committing the crime of adultery. Upon hearing this, Su Wenjiao was completely stunned. Shenlang didn't want to say anything more and let the Su family members take Su Wenjiao away. Su Wenjiao became truly frightened, desperately shouting to Shenlang, I have a big secret. Someone wants to harm you. Shenlang responded with a slight smile. If someone wants to harm me, I naturally know who it is. A few hours later, Su Wenjiao was stripped clean and, in front of hundreds of people, was beaten to death. At the same time, Father Jean, regarding the great merit Shenlang had established this time, asked Shenlang, Do you have any rewards you want? Shenlang immediately said, To issue an order for Jean Mulan to obediently listen to me. I want to share a bed with Jean Mulan. Of course, this was all Shenlang's fantasy. He then said, I don't want anything. Upon hearing this, Father Jean stated, That won't do. You will be in charge of the Count's mansion's accounts from now on. Shenlang hurriedly refused. I want to go home to visit my parents. Just lift my house arrest. Facing Shenlang, the master of stirring up trouble, Father Jean was genuinely a bit afraid, still not wanting to let Shenlang go out, but he also thought of what to reward Shenlang with, which was 300 mu of good farmland. Just as Shenlang was about to say he didn't want it and only wanted his house arrest lifted, Father Jean, using tiredness as an excuse, walked out saying he was going to sleep. Meanwhile, on the other side, in the courtyard where Jean Mulan was, Binger was attending to Jean Mulan as she bathed. Miss, the young master is really incredible, defeating and killing a big figure like Su Wenjiao overnight. He even recovered more than 10,000 gold coins for the Count's mansion. Jean Mulan listened with satisfaction, and also reminded Binger, from now on, no one in the mansion is allowed to talk about the young master killing Su Wenjiao and the like. The reason Su Wenjiao died is because he deserved to die. Binger zipped her mouth to indicate she understood. Then Binger remembered something, and excitedly asked Jean Mulan, The young master told me yesterday that the white tiger is the most precious. Miss, do you know why? Jean Mulan was somewhat curious. How did you answer? Binger explained, I said it was because of the color of the tiger, but the young master said the white tiger is rare because time is precious, and no amount of gold can buy a moment's time. He's just talking nonsense. What does the white tiger have to do with time? Miss, what do you think? However, at this moment, Jean Mulan was taken aback. It seemed she realized something, instantly blushing from ear to ear. How did my secret Shenlang know? Could it be that Shenlang spied on me bathing? But then Jean Mulan thought again. That's impossible. Shenlang has no martial arts skills. I would have noticed if you were spying on me. Then she asked Binger, Where is Shenlang? When Binger saw her mistress, she already understood what Shenlang meant, and said with a flushed face, The young master is coming back. Jean Mulan asked Binger to help her dress, assertively stating, I'm going to punish the wicked and promote the good. Remember, Binger, a man must be kept in check. If not managed for 3 days, he'll climb onto the roof to remove tiles. Binger asked in confusion, Are you going to hit the young master? Jean Mulan turned around and huffed lightly. Women of the Jean family never hit their husbands. A moment later, Jean Mulan saw Shenlang returning. Jean Mulan pretended to smile and said, My lord, you're back. I was just looking for you for something. Upon hearing Jean Mulan's tender voice, Shenlang immediately sensed a plot and quickly said to Jean Mulan, Thank you for your hard work. I won't disturb your rest then. He turned to leave, but Jean Mulan immediately blocked Shenlang's path. My husband, don't go yet. I have a game I want to play with you. Shenlang glanced at Jean Mulan's perfect figure, his face quickly turning red. Clearly, Shenlang's thoughts wandered to things like being tied up with ropes or dripping wax. He asked Jean Mulan eagerly what game it was. Jean Mulan smirked mischievously. It's like Primitive Animals, a game involving intense physical collisions. Shenlang's breathing quickened, but a strong desire to survive made him think he must leave immediately. However, the next second, Shenlang couldn't move. He saw Jean Mulan's fiery figure making a backward movement in front of him, enough to make any normal man's Mulan's heart explode just by looking. Thus, Shenlang agreed, tempted into playing the game, only to be dominated by Jean Mulan with a full split. His legs forcibly spread to 180 degrees. The agonized Shenlang asked Jean Mulan, "Weren't we supposed to play a game involving primitive animal collisions?" Jean Mulan smiled slightly and said, "Exactly. This game is called the 6 Animal Plays. It's about imitating primitive animals. Your body is still too weak. You need to exercise more." After saying this, Jean Mulan released her hold on Shenlang. "Take a rest. We'll do it 10 more times later." Hearing this number, Shenlang wailed in his heart. Is this an attempt on my life? Although he didn't know why, Shenlang decisively admitted his mistake to Jean Mulan. Jean Mulan smiled and indicated to Shenlang, "There's no mistake. I was just helping to train your body." Shenlang stated, "No matter what happened, it's all my fault. The wife is always right." Hearing this, Jean Mulan looked at Shenlang and asked him, "Do you really know what you did wrong?" Seeing Shenlang nod, Jean Mulan then asked Shenlang, "How did you find out my secret? And to use it to tease Binger?" Shenlang felt puzzled, but then he remembered the words he teased Binger with yesterday. He instantly understood, and then blood suddenly gushed from his nose. Seeing her husband's expression, Jean Mulan's face turned beet red, wishing she could find a crack to crawl into. She also understood that Shenlang had no idea about her secret. It was completely by accident when he teased Binger. Shenlang gave Jean Mulan a thumbs up. "Rest assured, my lady, I will definitely not discriminate against you because of this." After saying this, Shenlang immediately covered his mouth, got too carried away, drifted off. Sure enough, Jean Mulan clenched her fist and said sternly, "Let's do it 20 more times then." The next moment, the sound of Shenlang screaming like a pig being slaughtered echoed through the courtyard. When night fell, the exhausted Shenlang quickly fell asleep. Jean Mulan walked in at some point. Looking at Shenlang's sleeping posture, she couldn't help but feel a surge of maternal affection. After watching for a while, she gently bent down and kissed Shenlang's face. Then she floated away. However, in his sleep, Shenlang suddenly opened his eyes. It turns out Shenlang wasn't sleeping at all. The sleeping posture was also deliberate. Jean Mulan training me like that today. It would be strange if she didn't feel sorry. Following that, Shenlang not only put on a mask, but also wore gloves. He had a small black bottle in his hand, a hallucinogenic potion extracted from hundreds of pounds of moldy rye. To kill Tianheng, Shenlang needed to retrieve an item from Jean Mulan's room. Meanwhile, in a secret room within the mythical Turtle City, they had already learned of Su Wenjiao's death. They must act quickly to kill Shenlang. At that moment, a confidant came in to report, "The governor's envoy is already on the way and will arrive at mythical Turtle City tomorrow." Hearing this, Tianheng and another knew the opportunity to kill Shenlang had come. The city lord instructed Tianheng to prepare everything. They could make their move tomorrow night. However, they were actually targeting the count's mansion, but since Shenlang was causing too much trouble, they decided to kill him first. The next morning at the count's mansion, Jean Mulan got up early to practice martial arts. After half an hour, Jean Mulan prepared to bathe, but when she arrived at the dressing room and looked around, she asked Binger, "Have you seen a set of blue cloth skirts?" Binger said no. Just as she was about to help Jean Mulan look for it, Jean Mulan's beautiful face suddenly flushed, obviously thinking of something, and told Binger not to look for it anymore. It must have been left at the barracks and not brought back. Soon after, Jean Mulan and Shenlang finished breakfast. Jean Mulan's face was slightly red, hesitating whether or not to tell Shenlang not to get her skirt too dirty or something like that, but Jean Mulan found she couldn't say a word. At this time, Shenlang showed concern for Jean Mulan. "My lady, you've been running around outside for 2 days and nights. You must be exhausted. Would you like me to help loosen your muscles?" Jean Mulan straightened up her delicate body and lifted her hair, agreeing to Shenlang's massage. Seeing her smooth and fair neck, Shenlang internally exclaimed at her beauty. Shenlang quickly calmed himself, placed his hands on Jean Mulan's shoulders, and gently applied pressure. Jean Mulan immediately let out a very comfortable moan. She didn't expect Shenlang to actually know how, and to do it so comfortably. There was no helping it. Shenlang's technique was indeed the most professional. After all, he had been a doctor for decades. "My lady, you are so tense." Jean Mulan felt as if Shenlang was being lecherous. "My lord, even though I don't understand, I know you're being lecherous. If you continue, I will have to ask you to exercise again." Shenlang immediately continued to serve with dedication, showing immense care for Jean Mulan. "My lady, could you please not work so hard in the future? It really pains my heart." But Jean Mulan was not swayed. "If you're trying to get your confinement lifted, it's impossible. I won't go against my father's words." As soon as Jean Mulan finished speaking, Shenlang's hands had already left Jean Mulan's shoulders, and he ran towards the door, saying he had matters to attend to, and took his leave. This realistic act made Jean Mulan puff up her cheeks. "My husband is too pragmatic. If one doesn't do things for you, you immediately change your attitude. It's really annoying, leaving one hanging and then just running off." Not long after, Shenlang appeared behind his mother-in-law. His massage techniques had become even more skilled. Not only that, Mother Jin's face was covered with a facial mask made by Shenlang. "Mother-in-law, this mask needs to be applied daily, each time for a quarter of an hour. The most important thing for a woman's skin is hydration and sun protection. I only made 10 masks in total, 6 of which I gave to you. What about the remaining 4, did you give them to Jean Mulan? No, I kept them for myself. Now, you look like you could be Jean Mulan's sister, but that might not be the case in 10 years. Oh, does that mean I will age faster in 10 years? Not necessarily. By then, you might look like her younger sister. There's a term called reverse aging, and it might just happen to you. This amused Mother Jean, who laughed heartily. Women do like to hear such things, but she also understood that Shenlang had something to ask of her. Shenlang then spoke about the confinement order. Immediately, Mother Jean stood up. Alright, I will talk to your father-in-law right now. A quarter of an hour later, Shenlang learned from Manager Jean that his confinement order had been lifted. This established a new order within the Count's mansion. Shenlang listened to Jean Mulan. Jean Mulan listened to Father Jean. Father Jean listened to his wife, and the wife listened to Shenlang. Only Jean Muzong was left out. After leaving the Count's mansion, Shenlang went to a secret forest. Here, he was about to embark on his new world. Big Fool's father, Song Yi, was brought here, since Big Fool's brother was crippled by Shenlang and could never be healed. Fearing retaliation against the Count's mansion, he found Tianheng. The two hit it off immediately, but what happened next was completely unexpected to Song Yi. He didn't expect Tianheng's ruthlessness. Merely accusing Shenlang of causing injury isn't enough. We must claim a life to make Shenlang pay with his own. Unbeknownst to him, his son had already been beaten to death by Tianheng. Tianheng, looking at the grieving Song Yi, countered, which is a greater crime, injuring an innocent youth or causing his death? Murderers must pay with their lives. Prince and commoner alike should be punished equally under the law. Meanwhile, at the location of Big Fool's stepmother, she was so distressed she couldn't eat or drink. My son has been castrated. The Song family will have no descendants. The more she thought about it, the angrier she became, cursing Shenlang until she was parched and took a sip of water. For some reason, the water tasted odd. Then she collapsed onto the table. When she woke up again, the sight before her made her scream. Everything around her had suddenly become terrifying, with ghostly fires burning everywhere. The next moment, a beautiful female ghost emerged, her hair drifting with ghostly flames, frightening stepmother Song to the core. Who are you? The ghostly woman said menacingly. Wicked woman, you actually harmed my Big Fool. You shall die. As she spoke, a ghostly fire appeared in the palm of the ghostly woman and was thrown towards stepmother Song. She instinctively raised her hand to block it, but the ghostly fire ignited on her hand and could not be extinguished no matter what. In a panic, she picked up a cup of water, hoping to douse the ghostly fire, but terrifyingly, the fire did not go out and continued burning, causing her unbearable pain. In fear, stepmother Song desperately pleaded with the ghostly woman. It was his father who abandoned Big Fool, not me. At this point, she realized the ghostly woman was Big Fool's mother before her death. The ghostly woman approached. Her cold hand gently touched the ghostly fire, and it immediately went out. Seeing this, stepmother Song immediately kowtowed and thanked the ghostly woman, repeating her thanks 10 times. The ghostly woman looked at stepmother Song and said, "By heaven's grace, my son did not die. He was saved by a lucky star, but your son has died." Stepmother Song was confused. "My son hasn't died. He was just injured." The ghostly woman laughed. "News of his death will arrive soon, and it will be said that Shenlang killed him. Then you will be asked to go to the Count's mansion to identify Shenlang as the murderer. But it wasn't Shenlang who killed your son. It was your husband and Tianheng." Hearing this, stepmother Song desperately shook her head and shouted, "That's impossible." But with a gesture from the ghostly woman, she found herself unable to move. "Stop moving, or I will kill you. Listen to what I say, and I will spare your life." Stepmother Song hastily agreed. "Shenlang is my son's lucky star, and when Tianheng asks you to identify Shenlang as the murderer, agree to his demands at first. But once you are at the Count's mansion, in front of all the important figures, recant and point the finger at Tianheng. Claim that Tianheng forced you to falsely accuse Shenlang, saying it was he who killed your son." Stepmother Song wanted to refuse. After all, she couldn't afford to offend Tianheng. Suddenly, ghostly fire surged around the ghostly woman. "If you harm Shenlang, I will drag you to the 18th level of hell and have you chopped into pieces and fried alive. Do you want to die?" This frightened stepmother Song so much that she lost control of her expression, but the next second, the ghostly fire disappeared. "You can survive, as long as you do as I say. The Count's mansion will protect you. After Tianheng is dead, you can go home, and I will reward you with 300 gold coins. With this money, you can remarry and live a life 100 times better than now." Then, the ghostly woman threw her ghostly fire. Underneath stepmother Song's bed, there's a down payment of 30 gold coins under there. After you identify Tianheng, the remaining 300 gold coins will naturally appear again. Whether you live or die, whether you enjoy wealth and honor, or suffer in the 18th level of hell, is all up to you. With that, she disappeared. When stepmother Song woke up again, her head was splitting with pain, but she noticed burn marks on her arm, proving that what happened was not a dream. She immediately looked under the bed, grabbed a small shovel, and dug underneath, and she was stunned. Not only were there gold coins under the bed, but they were also encased in ice. Considering it was summer, where did the ice come from? Moreover, there were words carved on the ice, which made stepmother Song even more convinced. She continuously kowtowed to the ghostly woman, promising to do as told. Then she found the ice melting, which made her extremely happy. Believing it to be the ghostly woman's response. Meanwhile, in a corner, Shenlang took off the blue dress. It turns out the ghostly woman was him in disguise. Using a hallucinogenic potion he made to give to Big Fool's stepmother, then using white phosphorus for the ghostly fire, saltpeter for the icebox, and a silver needle to simulate the feeling of a ghost pressing down on her. Dressing in women's clothes was indeed a unique experience, especially when he looked more beautiful than a woman in drag. Next, Shenlang reluctantly burned the dress, destroying the evidence. As for whether Jean Mulan would notice a dress missing, Shenlang thought not, but if she did find out, Shenlang couldn't help but brainstorm. The next moment, Shenlang decided not to care. If it comes down to it, I'll just deny everything. Meanwhile, inside the Black Clothes gang, one of the subordinates told Tianheng the governor will be arriving soon. Jean Mulan has already led the cavalry to welcome him. Tianheng then asked, "Is the prefect accompanying him personally?" The subordinate nodded. Tianheng excitedly slapped the chair. "Everything is ready, and the east wind has also arrived. Shenlang is as good as dead, but crushing this stray dog is just by the way. Toppling the count's mansion is the main goal." He then looked towards Big Fool's father. "Hurry up and bring your wife over to the count's mansion to identify Shenlang. Don't forget to wear mourning clothes. Make it look more pitiful." Seeing the utterly heartbroken Song Yi, Tianheng sneered, "It's just a son. You can have more. After killing Shenlang, you'll be the head of the Coldwater town." With these words, Song Yi let go of his son and stood up to thank Tianheng, and as Shenlang predicted, after returning, Big Fool's father informed his wife that their son was dead. Big Fool's stepmother burst into tears, realizing that the ghostly woman Shenlang had impersonated had not lied to her. She glared at Song Yi with a face full of vengeance and hatred. However, Big Fool's father mistook her hatred as directed only towards Shenlang. After coordinating their stories with Tianheng, they headed to the Count's mansion with their son's coffin. Meanwhile, the Count's mansion of Mythical Turtle welcomed two dignitaries. One was the envoy from the governor's office of the province of the Southern Journey, Zhurong's staff member, Yan Wujin, and the other was the prefect of New River County from the province of the Southern Journey, Zhang Chong. Father Jean and Jean Mulan personally came to welcome them. Given that both parties were no ordinary people, especially Zhang Chong, who had single-handedly brought down the East River County's local tyrant, the Count's mansion, and was now assigned to New River County to implement new policies, aiming at the local tyrant of New River County, the Mythical Turtle's Count's mansion. Soon after, at the banquet hall of the Count's mansion, everyone took their seats, and Shenlang, unconcerned with anything else, just stared at Jean Mulan. At this moment, Yan Wujin put down his chopsticks. 20 years have passed. The governor sent me here this time to inquire about your plans regarding the dispute over the Isle of Gold Mountain. Do you wish for the governor's office to mediate peacefully? As soon as this was mentioned, everyone put down their chopsticks. Shenlang was slightly taken aback, as he was aware of the situation. The dispute over the Isle of Gold Mountain originated over 100 years ago, with both the Northern Jean High Count and the Mythical Turtle Count claiming the Isle of Gold Mountain as their own. The two families almost came to blows over it, and finally, the previous monarch decreed that every 20 years, there would be a competition of martial and scholarly tests between the two, with the winner gaining the rights to the land for that period. Unfortunately, 20 years ago, the former Count of Mythical Turtle lost, resulting in a significant loss of wealth. Father Jean asked, "What does the governor intend?" Yan Wujin suggested, "Divide the Isle of Gold Mountain in two, the north to Jean High Count's mansion, and the south to the Mythical Turtle Count's mansion. How about that?" Shenlang was stunned upon hearing this. Everyone knows that the main mineral resources of the Isle of Gold Mountain are in the northern half, while the southern half consists mainly of saline alkali soil and beaches. As expected, Father Jean was very angry, but he restrained himself and did not burst out, simply saying, "Let's drink." Yan Wujin did not care. His purpose was merely to mediate on behalf of the governor. However, at this moment, a commotion was heard from outside, with the sound of countless people shouting, "Hand over Shenlang. Murder must be paid for with life." Shenlang was not only unafraid, he was actually invigorated, anticipating the drama he had long awaited. Yet, everyone acted as if they hadn't heard anything, making Shenlang comment, "Truly like dignitaries." He also became a bit anxious. "If no one picks up on this, the show can't start. If it comes to it, I'll have to take the lead myself." However, at this moment, Jean Muzong spoke up. "Shenlang, it seems like there are people outside calling for you." The city lord then sent someone to inquire. Not long after, Jean Qing came to report there are thousands of people besieging the Count's mansion. Father Jean was not yet alarmed, but the city lord was, shouting angrily, "How dare they? Are they seeking rebellion?" His subordinate immediately responded, "They claim Shenlang has killed someone and are here to seek justice." Father Jean was somewhat stunned. He was aware of the incident and had even sent money to Big Fool's father to treat his son. Now the boy was reportedly dead. Father Jean deeply sensed the malice of the accusers. Mother Jean then pinched Father Jean, her gaze clearly indicating that if Father Jean dared to abandon Shenlang, she would never forgive him. Father Jean signaled he wouldn't and ordered his men to let the people in. Shortly after, Tianheng and Song Yi, carrying a coffin, walked in. During this, Song Yi, looking at Shenlang, cried out miserably, "Scoundrel, return my son's life." Then, he knelt before the city lord. "Lord Mayor, Lord Count, Please seek justice for your humble citizen. Following this was a tearful complaint about how Shenlang bullied his son and beat him to death, with Song Yi's ferocious expression making him a worthy candidate for an acting award. He then revealed his son's body, showing many shocking wounds. Please, my lords, seek justice for me. At this point, Jean Mulan suddenly asked, when did your son die? Song Yi responded, he died the night after being beaten by Shenlang. Jean Mulan coldly asked, why didn't you come on the same day, waiting until now to come forward? Song Yi claimed, I was afraid. Someone claiming to be a confidant of the count came to me, gave me a sum of gold, and threatened me to keep quiet, or they would kill my whole family. Father Jin's face turned ashen upon hearing this. As my years of caution led people to believe that the count's mansion of Shuangwu no longer commands fear, the city lord asked if he had any evidence. Song Yi shouted, there are witnesses. The city lord immediately ordered the witnesses to be brought in. Soon, several witnesses were led in, all pointing fingers at Shenlang. The city lord looked at Shenlang. Do you confess to the crime? Shenlang stated, I did enter Song Yi's home, but I did not assault anyone. I was there to deliver silver. Big Fool was my good friend. I made sure Song Shi fed him well every day. Song Yi vehemently accused, you're lying. It was clearly you who kicked my son to death. My wife can testify to that. Then, in full view of everyone, Song Shi was summoned. The city lord asked her if she was sure of what she saw. Song Shi nodded, saying she witnessed it herself. Tian Heng's lips curved into a smirk upon seeing this, while Song Yi knelt down, desperately kowtowing, begging the city lord for justice. Tian Heng helped Song Yi up and then loudly cited the laws of Yu Kingdom. Murder is repaid with life. Even princes are subject to the same laws as commoners. Shenlang must be punished accordingly. At this moment, the Black Clothes gang, dressed in mourning, unanimously cried out, murder must be repaid with life. The city lord then looked towards the count, indicating that to investigate thoroughly, Shenlang would have to be taken back to the city lord's residence. Father Jin was furious. If he's taken away, wouldn't they just frame Shenlang however they want? Tianheng also showed a smug smile, ready to watch Shenlang meet his demise, but his dreams were shattered the next moment. Song Shi pointed towards Tianheng and shouted, it was Tianheng who killed my son. Originally, Song Yi had kicked my son, injuring him, but when taken for treatment, he died at the hands of Tianheng. Her words struck like thunder, stunning everyone into silence. Song Yi was especially shocked, staring dumbfounded at his wife. The quickest to react was Tianheng, though he was initially confused as to why Song Yi's wife suddenly changed her story. Seeing her angry glare, Tianheng sensed great danger, realizing a grand conspiracy was looming over him, and he must leave immediately. However, seeing Shenlang smile, he knew escape was not an option. Once the prey is caught, no one lets go. Cough. Song Shi, are you perhaps so grief-stricken that you're speaking nonsense? Right, my lady. Could it be that your grief has muddled your senses? You were the one who saw Shenlang, that scoundrel, kick our son to death. Why change your story now? Song Shi glared with fury. It was you. I saw with my own eyes how you kicked my son in the groin. Shenlang came to our house to deliver silver because he was worried Big Fool wasn't getting enough to eat at our place. This statement made Song Yi hastily retreat. What madness has gotten into you? What benefits has Shenlang offered you? Has he threatened you? At this point, the city lord reacted, his tone threatening, warning Song Shi not to bear false witness and to consider the consequences carefully. Tianheng became frantic, accusing Song Shi of lying and asking if she had received any benefits from Shenlang. Unexpectedly, Song Shi bit her lip and declared, my son was growing up and becoming curious about women, attempting to peep, and just happened to be caught by Song Yi, who, in anger, kicked him. This revelation dumbfounded both Tianheng and Song Yi, while Jean Mulan felt ashamed. Tianheng, truly desperate now, began to coax Song Shi gently. If someone has threatened you, speak up. The envoy from the governor and the prefect are here. Someone will stand up for you. But this statement only made the city lord and Zhang Ji internally curse Tianheng for his foolishness. My father and envoy Yan Wujin are distinguished figures, not ones you can use to pressure others. Tianheng's words only served to frighten Song Shi into crawling before them, begging them for justice. Zhang Chong waved his hand, having Song Shi helped up. Speak quickly if you have any grievances. Regardless of sincerity, appearances had to be maintained for the sake of the common people. Song Shi then burst into tears, revealing how her son was killed by Tianheng and how her husband wanted her to falsely accuse Shenlang of the murder, promising him the position of head of Coldwater Town in return. Tianheng's face darkened, a mix of truth and lies being the most difficult to discern. Left with no choice, he knelt down and loudly lamented, this is Shenlang's conspiracy. Shenlang, like an innocent rabbit, helplessly spread his hands. He hadn't said a word all evening. How could he be slandered like this? The prefect, Zhang, then simply stated, have the city lord arrest them. In the next moment, both were bound. Shenlang sighed to himself. Impressive. On the surface, Zhang Chong orders the city lord to make the arrest, but in reality, he's cutting losses promptly and firmly seizing the initiative. Otherwise, if it came down to me holding Tianheng accountable, he would be in trouble. As for Song Shi, who was also to be taken away, she was frightened. Having betrayed them, she was sure to be doomed if taken away. But at this moment, there was no need for Shenlang to say anything. Mother Jean approached her, wiped away her tears, and, citing their shared understanding as mothers of the pain of losing a child, decisively immediately decided to keep Songshur at the Count's mansion. Prefect Zhang Chong, seeing this, nodded slightly in agreement with Mother Jin's request. He then prepared to leave, ordering the city lord to thoroughly investigate the truth and give everyone an explanation. Before leaving, Zhang Chong did not forget to praise Shenlang. Lord Count, your son-in-law is indeed remarkable. Shenlang simply bowed slightly. Following this, Father Jin personally escorted Yan Wujin and Zhang Chong out of the mansion, with Shenlang and Tianheng following behind. Tianheng's gaze was fixed on Shenlang, as if ready to devour him. Shenlang pretended to be scared, provocatively saying, "Why are you looking at me with that weird gaze?" Tianheng, furious to the point of laughter, said, "Shenlang, are you pleased with yourself?" Shenlang spread his hands. "Not at all. You're not dead yet. What's there to be pleased about?" Hearing this, Tianheng laughed loudly. "Keep dreaming your grand dreams. Who would kill me? Being thrown into jail is just for show. I'll be out in 3 days." Due to Tianheng's uprising, and out of concern for Shenlang's safety, the guards of the Count's mansion subdued Tianheng. Yet, despite this, Tianheng still looked at Shenlang with a triumphant gaze. "Once I get out, I will use every means to kill you, Shenlang." Shenlang glanced at Tianheng, his gaze as if looking at a dead man, then revealed a charming smile and said, "Tianheng, you are about to die." Tianheng was taken aback, laughing again. "You must be dreaming." Lu Wuyan, the city lord, also glanced at Shenlang, his look as if seeing a fool. Tianheng dying? What a joke. After they left the Count's mansion, the act was dropped, and Tianheng was unbound immediately. The city lord asked Zhang Chong, "How should this case be judged?" Prefect Zhang did not respond, but continued walking. The city lord asked again, and Zhang Chong stopped, questioning why Tianheng appeared tonight. Tianheng knelt down to admit his fault. "There's enmity between me and Shenlang. I shouldn't have appeared tonight, but I couldn't help myself. I wanted to see Shenlang's misfortune." An indignant Tianheng then turned his attention to Songshur, hoping Zhang Chong would take her to the city lord's mansion for judgment. Yan Wujin, unable to listen any longer, boarded his carriage. Zhang Chong turned to Tianheng and counter-asked, "Do you think you can turn the tables? Others plan 3 steps ahead while you're stuck in the moment. Do you think Shenlang just wanted to win this round? He wants you dead." Tianheng, confused, said, "Even if Songshur turns against me, I can easily escape," until Zhang Chong stated, "Go kill Tian13. Hopefully, you're still in time." This statement made both Tianheng and the city lord realize the gravity of the situation. Tian13 was Tianheng's most trusted confidant. What secret did Tianheng have that he didn't know? Tianheng's face changed instantly as he shouted, "Quick, send someone to kill Tian13. Meanwhile, inside the Count's mansion, Shenlang asked Jean Mulan, "Wife, are you very skilled in martial arts?" Jean Mulan simply hummed an affirmation. Shenlang then inquired, "Can you defeat the 3 waves of experts sent by Lu Wuyan, Zhang Ji, and Tianheng?" Jean Mulan stated, "It's a piece of cake." Shenlang was a bit skeptical, but there was no time to doubt. He immediately asked Jean Mulan to take people to Tian13's house to rescue him. After getting ready, Shenlang expressed his wish to accompany her. Without a word, Jean Mulan hoisted Shenlang by the waist, threw him onto a horseback, then leaped up herself, and they swiftly rode out of the Count's mansion towards Tian13's home. On the way, manager Jean couldn't help but ask, "We could have saved Tian13 earlier. Why go now? And in such a hurry?" Shenlang glanced at manager Jean. "Among us, you have the lowest IQ." Jean Cheng explained from the side, "If Tianheng doesn't kill Tian13, our rescue would be meaningless. We wouldn't be able to turn Tian13 against him, nor could we put Tianheng in a desperate situation." Shenlang narrowed his eyes. "Jean Cheng, you love to show off, don't you? Among the 5 of us here, your IQ is the second lowest." Just as Shenlang was heading to Tian13's house, Tian13, lying in bed, had not slept for 3 days and nights. His world had crumbled. The man he idolized as a father figure, his master, had personally broken his legs. In his childhood, when Tian13 struggled with hunger and cold, Tianheng had helped him, leading Tian13 to follow him loyally ever since, even rejecting offers from Zhang Ji and the city lord. Yet, for the sake of gambling interests, Tianheng had indeed struck him. Although Tianheng did not follow Shenlang's demands and had immediately arranged for his bones to be set and given his parents 100 gold coins, promising revenge on Shenlang, this somewhat healed 13's heart. He believed his adoptive father was forced into it and would never betray him. He already anticipated that Shenlang would try to bribe him with money and status to turn him against his adoptive father. He imagined spitting in Shenlang's face, calling his dreams foolish, excited at the thought. But the next moment, his face turned pale as he saw several figures in black appear before him. Among them were experts from the city lord's mansion and his sworn brothers from the Black Clothes Gang. Tian13 instantly understood. "Big brother, 7th brother, did our adoptive father send you to kill me?" No one responded, only nodding slightly. Tian13's gums bled as he bit down. "Big brother, 7th brother, go ahead, but please spare my parents. They know nothing." However, they refused. "Sorry, we must eradicate the roots." Tian13 exploded in rage, his mouth spraying blood mist. Why? Disaster should not extend to family members. But he was kicked back, and his parents were brought forward, trembling with fear yet begging for their son's life over theirs. Tian13, bloodshot eyes, demanded again, "Why? You know too much. Alive, you're a threat to Tianheng's safety." At that moment, Tian13's entire perception of the underworld collapsed. So, it turns out I was the only one who valued loyalty. I thought I was cool, but I was just a fool. In an instant, Tian13 burst into action, using a bedsheet as cover and grabbing a small knife, ready to fight for his life. But the next second, a sword pinned him to the ground. His legs, already injured, became a burden to him. 13 despaired, realizing he had dragged his parents into this. As the elderly couple begged for their son's life, Tian13, at that moment, understood the feeling Shenlang had when trying to save his parents, but it was futile. Just as the blade was about to slash the elders' throats, a fragrant breeze passed by, followed by a flash of sword light. A stunning figure suddenly appeared, and the black-clothed assailants screamed in unison. Then they saw who it was, the princess of mythical Turtle City, the foremost beauty, Jean Mulan. Shenlang, watching quietly, was also amazed by Jean Mulan's martial prowess, even wishing she would demonstrate again. This made the surviving black-clothed assailants retract their left hands. Seeing this, Shenlang smirked proudly, then curiously asked Jean Mulan why she brought others despite her own strength. Jean Mulan merely glanced at him, and Shenlang noticed manager Jean and the others forming a triangle, keeping him protected in the middle. Alright, Shenlang understood. Yet, being his usual self, he started asking Jean Mulan all sorts of questions, completely ignoring the atmosphere around them. Jean Mulan felt helpless towards her husband. Shenlang then began to show off, gesturing towards the black-clothed men's necks. Go back and tell Tianheng to wash his neck and wait. Upon hearing Shenlang's words, Tian1 broke into a cold sweat. 13 knows too many secrets. Once they come out, my adoptive father is done for. Faced with Shenlang's decision to take Tian13 with them, they were powerless to stop it and had no choice but to leave and report back. Only upon exiting did they discover that all their lookouts outside had been killed. After they had all departed, Shenlang quietly looked at Tian13, offering no words of recruitment, bribery, not a single gold coin, position, or promise, not even a single strand of hair. Tian13 crawled before Shenlang, kneeling with his forehead touching the ground, declaring henceforth, I am Shenlang's dog now. Wise men don't speak in riddles. Shenlang, looking at Tian13, stated, from now on, you'll be called Shen13. Tian13 wiped away his tears and respectfully called out, Master. The next moment, Shenlang requested his parents move into the Count's mansion. Jean Mulan was speechless, taking their parents as hostages and making it sound so justified. Tian13 pressed his forehead against Shenlang's shoe and agreed. Shenlang immediately smiled brilliantly, warmly helping Tian13 up. Inside the City Lord's mansion, the City Lord also received news of their failure, his face turning ashen. Upon hearing that Tianheng couldn't be saved, he slammed his fist on the table in anger. Tianheng annually contributed a significant portion of his profits to him, and as Tianheng was his man, killing him would mean a loss of face. The City Lord inquired, what about Zhang Ji? After learning of the situation, Zhang Ji had hastily set off to catch up with his father. However, upon catching up, Zhang Ji heard something he didn't want to accept, that Tianheng must be killed. Zhang Ji was reluctant, to which his father asked, what is most important for a commander? The perspective must be broad, to oversee the whole situation and not fret over the loss of one city or one place. Yet Zhang Ji was unwilling. Killing Tianheng would just be playing into Shenlang's hands. Frustrated, he lashed his whip against the ground. This scene, so similar to the humiliation Tian13 felt when his legs were broken by Tianheng, was like voluntarily letting Shenlang slap his face. Inside the Black Clothes gang, Tianheng also received news about 13. He dismissed his servants and silently stepped outside. He knew once 13 revealed his secrets, no one could save him. Looking up at the rooftop, Tianheng wondered if he was at his end. He truly regretted not having Shenlang torn to pieces. With a furious roar, Tianheng punched the wall, muttering apologies to Second Fool with tears in his eyes. Then he moved a bookshelf to enter a secret chamber. Meanwhile, at the Su family residence, Zhang Ji questioned Su Chanqian, why didn't you kill Shenlang initially? Su Chanqian couldn't rebut, also somewhat disbelieving Shenlang's transformation. She could only stiffly ask Zhang Ji, what did your father say? Zhang Ji relayed his father's exact words. He told me to kill Tianheng. Just then, voices came from outside. Turning their heads, they saw the City Lord arriving. He disagreed with killing Tianheng. If Tianheng were killed, how could they face the world? How much gold would be lost annually? How pleased would Shenlang be? Did Zhang Ji not understand? But if their deeds were exposed? However, at that moment, a subordinate suddenly reported that Tianheng sought a secret meeting. The very next day, outside the City Lord's mansion's main hall, a crowd gathered densely. Tianheng was seen kneeling in the hall, covered in wounds, facing accusations. Tianheng laughed loudly and shouted, I, Tianheng, even in death, will go out with a bang. I won't die a dog's death. Clearly, you can't defeat Shenlang, yet you want me to die. In front of hundreds of onlookers, Tianheng charged headfirst into a nearby pillar. Everyone was initially shocked. The underworld boss of mythical Turtle City, the powerful Tianheng who could summon the wind and call the rain, had just died like that, and his death was so violent and sudden.